स्टार्टिंग में जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया था ना, तब एक वन सोर्स कोई ऐसा मेंटरशिप या फिर कोई ऐसा प्रोग्राम था जहाँ पे सारी चीज़ें एक सिस्टमेटिक वे में सर ने वो कर दिखाया एंथ्रोपोलॉजी। This was the only paper in my whole paper where from start to end I was not finding a 1 minute of lag in any question. So it was about perfect time management, choosing the right questions and trusting on myself. And here you will take special help from theory chapter. Content king है, बिना content अच्छे content के marks नहीं आएंगे. In that way anthropology can provide you better results if you are willing to put efforts in it. Be a bare minimum guy in this world. Bare minimum efforts में maximum results लाना आपको. In GS, in anthropology, everywhere. Word limit, I write very broad answers, like very broadly. बड़ा बड़ा font में लिखता हूँ, तो मेरी word limit कभी exceed नहीं होती. Imagine from the एग्जामिनर्स पर्सपेक्टिव ना, आप जब किसी की कॉपी चेक करोगे ना तो आपको समझ आ जाएगा कि ये सारी चीज़ें क्यों है रिलेवेंट है. सो दे विल जंप फ्रॉम हेयर टू हेयर टू हेयर, ऐसे ही रीड करते हैं. तो इससे ज़्यादा बेनिफिट रहेगा रादर देन गोइंग फॉर कलेक्टिंग मटेरियल, नोट्स, ये नोट्स पढ़ लो, वो नोट्स पढ़ लो. बहुत सारे नोट्स हैं, फिर आप नोट कलेक्टर बन जाओगे, डीएम. तो ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन, मेरा दिनेश विश्नोई नाम है. So I have secured rank 265 this year, and this was my 5th attempt. Before this, I have given 2020 and 2022 and 2024 means all even numbers. So in 2020, I scored 210 in anthropology. From that, I got 255 in next year, 2022, and this year I scored 297 in anthropology. So this has been a brief journey. मतलब मेरी तो थोड़ी लंबी हो गई. 7 years since I started this preparation, 2018, and from then onwards I have been giving attempts, except 2023 I have given all the exams. So briefly जो मेरा एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में बैकग्राउंड रहा है वो ये है कि मैंने फाउंडेशन कहीं से नहीं किया है. यहाँ पे लेवल अप में मैंने 2022 में भी टेस्ट सीरीज में था, और इस साल भी मैं टेस्ट सीरीज में था. 2024 में भी टेस्ट सीरीज, टेस्ट डिस्कशंस जो भी सारे सर ने अपलोड किए थे, थियरीज के लेक्चर मैंने रिलीजियसली फॉलो किए हैं, और उनका एक बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है इस मेरे रैंक में या फिर मार्क्स में. मोस्ट ऑफ यू आर फ्रॉम एंथ्रोपोलॉजी बैकग्राउंड, बट स्टिल व्हाई टू चूज एंथ्रोपोलॉजी? So there are 3 reasons for me and for most of the people. First is interest. Anthropology is very interesting. We have evolution, we have physical anthropology, then we have tribal anthropology, which is interesting, and then socio-cultural, and it teaches a lot about daily life and how it is beautifully organized around things. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई chaotically selected है, मतलब बहुत ही organized चीजें हैं अपनी लाइफ में एवोल्यूशन से लेके. तो एक वो चीज है. सेकंड रीजन, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ गाइडेंस एंड मटेरियल, तो दैट इज आल्सो देयर इन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी. थर्ड थिंग इज relative scoring in anthropology or in any optional subject for that matter. And in last 5 years anthropology, since last 6-7 years, anthropology has done well in terms of scoring. Like always we have had people around 300, 325, so that is a good enough score. I'm not saying other optionals are not doing well, but in that way anthropology can provide you better results if you are willing to put efforts in it. So this I have already explained, from 210 to 255 to 297. So for people who are scoring around 200 or 220 range, what I have observed is that there is one missing thing, is that most of the people do not have the conceptual clarity which is required in both papers. So that takes you here in 220, 225, 230 bracket. So if you are willing to work on that, and if you have conceptual understanding, then you will move up here to 60 to 70 range, based on having a conceptual clarity and having the ability to attempt all the questions in the paper. From here to here, this jump will require few value additions and bringing something unique in your answers. Every answer I have tried to bring one unique point in each answer, so that if you can do, then it will add your score will jump from this to this. So From here in 2020, actually, one incident was that in paper 2, I got 77. In one paper, 133. Here, 126, 129, 136, 161. So that 77 is a lesson. It was lesson for me that do not attempt questions which you do not have an idea. So if you look at that paper, there were 2-3 questions in the initial segment, 10 markers, which were relatively tougher side. Other than that, paper was very easy. 2020 paper 2, easy paper. But still I managed to get a very low score. That was because in initial 2 paper, I was sort of not aware of the exact content of the question. Still I went on and I wrote full 2 pages without knowing the exact content. So do not commit that kind of mistake in any paper, or especially optional, because professors, they are from the subject background and they will immediately know that you do not know about this thing. So do not commit this kind of mistake. And here the thing was about execution and having little bit of low value addition source. So in paper 1, I was not able to execute well this year because it was a lack of time management. In the initial part, I consumed some 15 minutes extra, and the whole paper I was just trying to cover up. So this led me here. This one and this one, it was more about having a perfect execution. This was again little less executed well, because I'm telling you this. In this 136, I got 110 marker incorrect. I was not able to correctly guess from which part it was, and I wrote it completely incorrect. And 115 marker also I messed up. So that led to this 136. It could have been 150, 145 with same knowledge, same content which I had. So it is very easily possible to score 150 in both papers. Here it was more about executing perfectly all the questions. Uh, this was the only paper in my whole paper that where from start to end I was not finding a 1 minute of lag in any question. So every question I devoted the time, exact time which was there for this question, and then I went ahead with the next question. So it was about perfect time management, choosing the right questions, and trusting on myself what I know better, because I chose that PM Janman question. You could argue that these kind of questions everyone will choose, and then you will have to bring something unique. So here I was confident about my content, so I was able to execute it well. Okay. Every question is individually marked and there is no such negative marking in mail. So yes, I agree, but see, initially I was not that well prepared also, so that part is there. But still, if you are writing 2 pages of nothing in one question, then examiner will see it. So please, if you do not have idea about that question, attempt it, but attempt it like 1 page. थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड लिख दो, स्पेसिफिक मत जाओ, तो वो चीजें इसमें आप देख सकते हो. So resources, as you can see, I have basic resources, nothing extraordinary, no extraordinary books. Pnath for physical, Umber and Umber, few parts of social like state origin theory, unit 4, all those things, and level up test discussions. 2 years continuously. I have been part of it and I have utilized it to a level that whenever sir used to take a discussion class, I used to attend it online and I used to write each and every word sir used to give. So that was one big factor in it. These were my basic resources before 2020 means. So this was my basic resource. It was mostly for presentation, answers, most part of the question. It is good for archaeology part, I would say. You can have a broad idea about it and every question you can cover. EPG Pathsala, paper 2, few sources, PYQ, and always remember कंटेंट इज द किंग बट प्रेजेंटेशन इज द क्वीन। तो अपने आंसर्स को प्रेजेंट भी अच्छा करना है। द थिंग अबाउट दिस इज दैट while writing you should be able to display what you are writing, so write adequate spacing। ऐसा जंबल अप करके मत लिख देना, थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड लिखना। कहीं पे फ्लो चार्ट्स हो सकते हैं, फ्लो चार्ट्स बनाइए। जहाँ पे डायग्राम्स हो सकती है वहाँ पे डायग्राम्स ऐड कीजिए। और ये वाली भी मतलब मैंने भी कहीं ना कहीं से सीखी है, ऐसा तो था नहीं कि मैं पहले से ही समझ के आया था। तो कोई टॉपर कॉपी देख ली कहीं से, कोई बुक से उठा लिया, कोई सर ने बता दिया, तो ऐसी चीज़ों से मैंने इकट्ठा कर करके किया था। सो इन द इनिशियल पार्ट आई विल डिस्कस अबाउट द स्ट्रैटेजी, जनरल स्ट्रैटेजी फॉर एवरीवन, and later on for people who are attempting this year's mains. So this is about all those people who are going to appear in 2026 or even in this exam 2027. So this is a broad things which I did. So paper 1 start with theories. That was my fundament, matlab my strategy after struggling for one or two mains. Starting with theories, having a good understanding on each and every theory which is there. Especially nowadays they are asking the minute details of this theories of structural functionalism, structuralism, symbolism, interpretive, cognitive, postmodernism. They are touching everywhere. So that's basic difference between structural functionalism and structuralism. So that it is a very minute distinguished. And if we have conceptual clarity, then only we will be able to answer perfectly. So what is the difference? The difference lies, structuralism is about how structures were created, structural functionalism about how to maintain those structures. The function of the society is to maintain those structures. It talks about mind, it talks about reality. So these kind of clarity you will need to have about every theory. You can use this clarity in paper 2 in other parts of the syllabus. How? Structuralism about exchange of words, exchange of ideas, exchange of women. These three things were given by Levi Strauss. Exchange of ideas, globalization. Exchange between first world and third world. Communalism, exchange of words. The same way, marriage chapter, kinship, exchange of women. So you can utilize these theories in whole syllabus. In paper 1, in paper 2, and this will give you edge. Because wherever you will feel that there is a question which we do not have adequate understanding or which is not from the PYQ, then you will require these kind of things. For the bouncer questions, it will help. And okay, so moving on, unit 1, what I did was for all these kind of things, reduce remembering load. For archaeology, for evolution, for fossils, reduce remembering load. How to do that? Have a common framework for comparison between species. You give me any species, I will compare based on my understanding. How later was that in the evolution period, and what were the specific, what were the positions in the evolutionary timeline. I will go from head to toe and I will list down things. This again was contribution of Karandeep sir. मैंने ऐसा कुछ तोड़ा नहीं था, लेकिन it helps a lot. Then you will not have to remember each and every line of it. You will just remember the cranial capacity and other things that data you will have to remember. But other than that, you can manage comparison between species like Homo sapiens and apes. That comparison could be done easily. And for fossils, have a common framework where you will enlist the geographical location, physical features, cultural features, and in that order you can write a good answer without having adequate content on it. You can give any fossil. If I know about the location and I know about the evolutionary period of that fossil, I can write other things. We will always have idea about cultural features of that period, so that you can utilize. You can draw a map here. So in that way, you can cover unit 1 very easily with less remembering load. For physical anthropology, again focus on need to identify topics which are repeating in nature. Unit 10, 11, 12 gives you more reward than Unit 9. That will help in terms of having to prioritize your revisions. If people are going to appear this means, then prioritize Unit 10, 11, 12, and then you can do Unit 9. Unit 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, interlinking and use the content of paper 2. What is interlinking? Interlinking is about, for example, say a question is about economic anthropology. So in that, what you can do is link with kinship, because in simple societies, economy is part of the whole structure. Economy lies inside the culture of the society. So in that way, you will be able to link, interlinking different aspects, and here you will take special help from theories chapter. Any question which you do not have adequate content can be taken up with theories. Rest, paper one is obviously more objective, so you will have to remember things, but it is also more rewarding. You will have to remember things, तो उसका कोई solution नहीं है. What you can do is whatever high factual things are there, you can revise multiple times, 5-7 times, and whatever structure conceptual things are there, that you can do once, twice, and you will be able to write in exam. But whatever highly factual in nature, you will have to revise 5-7 times, and then you will able to repeat. For paper 2, archaeology part 1, paper 1 part is done in paper 2, क्योंकि ज़्यादातर जो डिटेल्ड क्वेश्चन आएंगे वो पेपर 2 में आएंगे, और पेपर 1 वाले भी बहुत सारी चीज़ों में पेपर 2 का चीज़ आप यूटिलाइज कर सकते हो. सो आर्कियोलॉजी अगेन, अक्षत जैन सर्स बुक, it gives you a good framework on how to frame your answers. In that, you will have to add your things. That thing you will have to do, but for a brief idea, it can be done with this kind of approach. And for social part, you will have to collect few good case studies which you can use at multiple places. Village studies specifically. For example, Andre Betil study of Tanjore. That can be quoted at multiple places, even in factionalism, in rural politics, in caste discrimination existence in rural politics, or in how household is arranged in a fashion. It shows everything in this case study. So similar studies you will have to extract, and don't use that study only for one specific content. If you are doing a case study, village study properly, then you will be able to use it at multiple places. Samirpet village study, other than that, Srinivas sir studies are there, 2-3. Surajpur study of SC Dubey, FG Bailey study of Bisipada village. All these are multiple, these studies have multiple things in it which you can use in at multiple places. So you will not have to collect a case study for every question. 10-12 अच्छी studies ले लिया, उसको समझ लिया, understand it properly, where you can utilize it, understand the things which are there, and understand the questions which are coming. So in that way, you will be able to use this content at multiple places. और remembering load फिर से कम करना है. Try to be a lazy person like me. जितना ज्यादा हो सके उतनी कम चीजों में से ज्यादा रिवॉर्ड कैसे ला सकते हो आप. That will help you. Be a bare minimum guy in this world. bare minimum efforts में bare maximum results लाना आपको. Everywhere, in GS, in anthropology, everywhere, in prelims, in mains, in interview, be a bare minimum guy. Tribal part, write with empathy. So how to inculcate that? You can have a look at Main Bhi Bharat, RSTV. It will show you some 50-60 good episodes about tribal life, and it is not boring like documentary. So you can use it whenever you are free, whenever you are eating, and have some basic notes on it. So in that you will find many things about tribal life and how to use that. Many people have done, especially from people from my era. RSTV, मैं भी भारत, सब कोई बोलता था. अब थोड़ा सा कम हो गया इसका क्रेज. तो इसको यूज कैसे करना है कि आपने लिख देना है RSTV स्टडी मैं भी भारत has showed the following features in this life, in this particular tribal hamlet, and that will give you a more authenticity to your answer. You will quote that tribal household lack electricity, but that will a generic point, it will be a generic point. But when you quote it like that with tribe name, it will become a proper case study, and it is easy to do, because collecting many case studies, remembering it will be difficult. So in that way you can use it. For thinkers in paper 2, have a common framework. That also I have in my answers. I will display here that how I utilize the common framework in many places, and that you can build on it. Do this at the end of paper 2, because then you will have fair idea about a scholar's work in tribal part, in archaeology part, and in social part, so that you will be able to give a multi-dimensional answer. So do this at the end of the syllabus. Use of point example format. So this has been become a norm in recent periods, but there is a star mark to this. What is that? Whenever you are writing conceptual questions where you need to show your understanding, use a paragraph format. In the initial part of the question, tell the examiner that I know these things and I will be able to answer it. Then use point example, point example, point example. It will work in paper 2. In paper 1, you can utilize paragraph even more. Point example, especially in tribal part, what you can do is that while if you will do this religiously, then you will have a lot of case studies, and writing each case study will be tough because there is a word limit. So what you can do is, if you have a unique thing or that particular demand to that question, then write that case study fully. Otherwise, use it as an example in very brief. Even the case studies, RSTV case studies, use it as an example. Write a point that there is a lack of electricity, and then use an example, RSTV study among Badangas. So in that way, you can utilize your case studies even more. So it has become a norm in GS papers, but in optional, point example format is little less used, but in paper 2 it will be useful. So use it, but use it with a disclaimer. So for example, this year there was a question on ILO convention. So in that, it was about conceptual clarity. Tell the examiner that I know why India has not signed and what things are there in that convention. So that there you will utilize a paragraph. Rest, PM Janman question, PBTGs, scheme questions, use point example, point example, point example. That will give you more dividend. So it was about this was about how I covered my whole syllabus. Now I will show how different value additions I have done in my different here. Symbolic interactionism. There was a question on social stratification this year, a 20 marker. So there is everybody is aware about class stratification, gender stratification, and all those norms which are there. But this symbolic interactionism, it is different. How it is different? It is about daily interactions. How in daily life we judge a person by seeing their outfit or by seeing their smartphone or other things. In that way, we will judge a person's lifestyle, and that shows inequalities. That question was about social stratification linked with social inequalities. So that kind of content could be utilized. This is suppose a question comes, very simple question. We write different approaches to social stratification in anthropology. In that you will use class, caste. So it was a value addition to that point. But where I used in that question in different manner. Postmodernists, they are great people. They are great people for criticism. Postmodernists have criticized this reductionist oversimplification. They are great people. Use them in criticism, and that will also lead to you less remembering load. Again, impact of infectious disease on indigenous people. This was a PYQ. But this year question was COVID-19 impact on socially marginalized people. So this content could have been utilized there also, and I would have done that. How? Disruption of cultural practices and knowledge. Not only about it is health impact, but how we will write an answer very anthropologically is that talking about these things, cultural practices, social practices. So in that way it will become a more of an anthropologically oriented answer. So these things you will have to utilize. Marriage rules and genetic pool. This was different points, like how you can write notes very shortly. So this was a question, a big question, around 20 mark. But you will have a general idea after taking classes. So whenever you are doing value addition, you will write very shortly kinship system, genetic drift, endogamy, exogamy, and you will remember the things which were taught in classes and write those things here. So in that way you can utilize these things. Use of sample diagrams. Caste and social capital. Very simple diagram. Caste promotes social capital, leads to financial literacy, leads to rural entrepreneurship. You write a case study. So these kind of value additions you can do. Role of PRIs in transforming traditional rural power hierarchy in India. This was the question. A similar question appeared this year, but it was specific to women. Here, emancipation of women, John Holmes study. So this thing could have been utilized there also. Hina Patel, Sisawa village, Gujarat. So all these are value addition which I have done, and I have used them in different ways in the real exam. Okay. So this is about how to utilize diagrams. Like pastorals, they are present in all parts of India. Draw a diagram. Nation state conflict. There was a question on ethno-nationalism this year. So Nagalim demand, write a diagram, draw a diagram. Karma, similarly. This is a simple flowchart. These kind of things you can draw. How illness will lead to borrowing, debt, moneylender, poverty, a circular flow. This is 2024 paper. These are the questions which I was discussing, like attributes of culture, Harappan maritime trade, critical perspective on avoidance and joking relationship. So here you can take help from theories. Radcliffe Brown, functionalism, structural functionalism, they all have their perspective on kinship system. You can use those and write these kind of questions. Lethal and sublethal, basic question, hemoglobin. Here you can utilize paper 2 content. Saharia tribe, malnutrition, those kind of studies could be quoted here. So this is about interlinkage. This is also about interlinkages of paper 2 content in paper 1, and same way reverse in paper 2. I attempted this question. This was a PYQ. This is also kind of PYQ. PYQ. Simple paper. Cultural relevance of Kula. This Kula was sort of about that Kula trade which is there. And then Homo erectus. Okay. So this is paper one. Also, what you can do in paper one is that, so these kind of questions are a norm in 7-8 years. But how you can even go to a more next level is that while writing about these things, whenever you are writing cranial capacity 1450 for Homo erectus, write an example, Daminci skull found in Georgia. Writing a second characteristics about structure, write an example, Turkana boy. Write an example, Zodowski cave which is there in China. So that Homo erectus could be quoted here. So in these ways, you can go even more depth in your answers. While writing physical features, quote an example. Applications of forensic anthropology have some good conclusion also. So like here I had used a conclusion that forensic anthropology give voices to dead. So these kind of things also you can collect conclusion, introduction, that will help you in fetching few extra marks. Paper 2, digitalization of rural economy, a GS question. Most answer would be related to around a GS. Most people would have written a GS answer. So what you can do is that link economy with kinship, with other parts, and then also write about these things. That will show your anthropological understanding. This is the interlinkage which I was talking about. So this is how you will show. Here also I utilized AI platforms like ChatGPT. How? I went on and searched trends in different parts of syllabus, in family system, in kinship system, in economy, everywhere. And those trends gave me few contents which could be utilized here. Like there was a trend about economic organization, urban clap, we have heard about it. Use those kind of things here. Kinship organization, there is this new thing which is using WhatsApp group and doing everything on WhatsApp, celebrating festivals. So that kind of things also could be utilized, that how kinship is changing uh, as per the needs of the demand of the time. So this was from paper 1. Origin of state societies, there are 4-5 theories. You will have to write. Syrio Malabar question सर ने कवर करा रखा था. आर्टिशियन ट्राइब्स ऑफ झारखंड ठीक ठाक था. Causes of stunting and wasting, I attempted this from this set. Critically discuss recent welfare measures by government for PVTGs and comment why PVTGs were erroneously called primitive group. So whenever you are doing this kind of this question, always give equal importance to both part of the question. Do not write critically discuss in 3.5 pages and write just कि हाँ भाई उनको प्रिमिटिव बोलते थे, बाद में हमने थोड़ा चेंज कर दिया और फिर कंक्लूड कर दिया. Don't do that. Give equal importance to both part, because both are equally important. Otherwise, they would have marked it as 15 and 5, but they have not done. That means both parts are equally important. That is relevant for whole UPSC, for GS, for anthropology, for everywhere. You will have to do this kind of thing. How PISA Act is empowering self-governance and impacting women political participation. That was I was talking about how I utilized that democratization impact on different spheres, and that same thing came directly here. Deconstruct the colonial history of Indian anthropology, highlighting the critical role of anthropologist. Here you will write about as many anthropologists as you can, but also highlight what was the colonial construct of the anthropology. It was mainly used for benefit of the administrator. Later on, we also, with help of anthropologist, help for common people, anthropology. So in that way, you can use existing holistic health marginalized section, drawing measures from COVID-19 pandemic. Here, this set I attempted, and this set I attempted in paper 2 this year, and that question number 2. So here sir had given a case study, a very good case study, which I utilized, and also while talking about marginalized section, go to an extent of tribals, religious groups, marginal religious groups, women, everywhere. Go in broadness, cover multiple dimensions. That way you will be able to give a multiple perspective answer. Origin of caste system criticism, a normal question. Resurgence of ethno-nationalism from an anthropological lens. Here also, Karandeep Sir's content was very much useful, and you can link with current affairs. Manipur issue, Manipur cookie issue, cookie math issue. You provide that issue in this question. So that shows that the person is not only reading about things, but he is understanding what is going on in the society. You will have to use those kind of things here. Question number 8, Paleolithic from South India. Examples, significance of Paleolithic culture. So here also what I did was used ChatGPT content. That I will talk about how to utilize AI platforms in different parts of syllabus just when I'm done with this. Okay, so this we can directly move to this AI and other things in exam in value addition. So okay, this is done, I think. What you can do is, as per the syllabus, you will have to utilize it in different way. For archaeology, search recent discoveries in India and world in last 10 years. So in that question, a Kurnool discovery from 2020 was very much useful, because ऐसे देखने पे बहुत आसान लगता है साउथ पेलियोलिथिक का, जब स्पेसिफिकली 4 पेज लिखने जाएगा ना, कंटेंट कम पड़ेगा, उस टाइम पे ये बहुत हेल्प करती है, एंड ऑल्सो इट गिव्स एन एक्स्ट्रा एज टू योर आंसर. So recent discoveries in India and world across periods, you will have to do this for all archaeology thing. Paleolithic, Chalcolithic, Iron Age, everywhere you will use these kind of things. And also while using AI chat GPT, have your brain open, because it will give you wrong answers. Then it is your duty to pick what is correct and what is not correct. So that is why I also said that use trends, do not use specific case studies from this, because there is a chance of you incorrect, but trends are correct. These discoveries kind of things, these are factual information, so it is mostly correct, but also Google it. Kurnool is the discovery was real, क्योंकि वो खुद का बना के दे देता है कभी कभी. Okay, so other than that, in evolution or in paper unit 1, you can also utilize ChatGPT for drawing comparisons between different sites, and it will give you a beautiful chart. वो सारी चीजें बनाएगा, मस्त बना के देगा, तो इसको यूज करने का सीधा. And in social unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, unit 6, 7, everywhere you will go for trends, and that trends will be applicable in paper 2 as well. Trends in this part of the syllabus, trends in family system in India and in world, so it will throw up you a good studies. Trends in family system, it will give you how people are using digital devices as a babysitter. परफेक्टली नॉर्मल हमारी डेली लाइफ रूटीन की चीज है, लेकिन हम एग्जाम में यूज कर सकते हैं. वो अच्छा इंप्रेशन देगा एग्जामिनर को कि हाँ, वो अपने बच्चे को ऐसे बोलता रहेगा कि फोन मत दिखाओ, फोन मत दिखाओ, तुम लिख रहे हो, उसको अच्छा लगेगा उसको. एंड देन रिलीजियस में फिर से अपन लोग ऑनलाइन आरती, ये आरती पूजा, ऑनलाइन दर्शन, ये सारी चीजें वहां पे यूज कर सकते हो ना. ये कहाँ पे यूज करनी है? आंसर के एंड में थोड़ा सा रीसेंट ट्रेंड्स इन दिस, जब भी क्वेश्चन में कभी भी मौका मिले, रीसेंट ट्रेंड्स इन दिस, या फिर आर्कियोलॉजी में रीसेंट डिस्कवरी, और फिजिकल वाले में हाउ इट कैन हेल्प इन ह्यूमन हेल्थ बेटरमेंट, या ऐसे कुछ. जैसे अपना कंsanguine मैरिजेस के ऊपर मैंने एक सर्च किया था, तो उसने बढ़िया स्टडी दिया था एम्स का कि कैसे कंsanguine मैरिज कुड लीड टू ह्यूमन ब्रेन रिटार्डेबिलिटी। तो वो सारी चीज़ें आप यूज़ कर सकते हो अपने आंसर्स के एंड में, वैल्यू एडिशन में। लास्ट के हाफ पैराग्राफ होना चाहिए, उससे ज़्यादा वैल्यू एडिशन पे मत चला जाना, पूरा आंसर ही वैल्यू एडिशन लग जाएगा वरना। पेपर 2 में फिर से फॉर ट्राइबल पार्ट वैल्यू एडिशन में आप मोटा की रिपोर्ट्स वगैरह लिखोगे, और वहां पे थोड़े से ये ऐसे डायग्राम्स वगैरह बना लेना। जैसे कोई भी डेटा कोड कर रहे हो ना, तो एमएमआर ये जनरल हो गया, ये ट्राइबल हो गया। ऐसी चीजें उस डेटा को कोड करने के बजाय ऐसी चीजें कर दो। ये छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जो एक एक नंबर एक्स्ट्रा देगी। एक क्वेश्चन में समथिंग यूनिक, यू विल गेट 1 extra mark, दैट इज इनफ। दैट इज इट फ्रॉम माई एंड। अब आप लोग के क्वेश्चंस स्टार्ट कर सकते हो आप। फॉर केस स्टडीज प्लेटफॉर्म्स, there is an online doubt what were the platforms about case studies for paper 2. So most of case studies I borrowed from LevelUp test discussion. Other than that, you can use EPG Pathshala. There is authentic case studies there. And how many paragraph in 10-15 marker questions? That depends on the nature of the question. You will have to write based on the question. If question is about conceptual, then write initially in paragraph, but then switch to point wise format. पूरा आंसर पैराग्राफ में लिखने से ज़्यादा बेनिफिशियल नहीं है। हाउ टू मैनेज टाइम टू राइट आंसर्स। टाइम मैनेजमेंट, आप बेसिकली वेल अवेयर हो कि 20 मार्कर के लिए आपके पास 15 मिनट्स है, 15 मार्कर्स के लिए 10 मिनट है, 10 मार्कर के लिए 7 मिनट है। तो उस पर स्टिक करना है। इनिशियल पार्ट ऑफ द एग्जाम यू कैन गो लिटिल अबव द टाइम लिमिट, बट जैसे ही एग्जाम से नजदीक आए, 1 मंथ पहले आए, स्टिक टू द टाइम लिमिट। 10 मिनट्स का है तो 10 मिनट्स में खत्म नहीं हो रहा है तो हाफ अ मिनट एक्स्ट्रा दे दीजिए, आंसर खत्म कीजिए, नेक्स्ट आंसर पे जाइए। बिकॉज वन क्वेश्चन डज नॉट डिजर्व more attention than it is required. If in the whole paper you find 1 or 2 10 markers which you do not know, then you can utilize that extra time in other questions. Then for that they will give you paper 5 minutes before the exam. So in that only skim through the 10 markers, whole 10 marker set. You will know which 10 markers you do not have a good idea or you do not know. So you can either skip them or give less time to them. 7 minutes की जगह 3-4 minutes दे दो। How did you manage word limit? Word limit, I write very broad answers, like very broadly, बड़ा बड़ा font में लिखता हूँ, तो मेरी word limit कभी exceed नहीं होती। And it helps in managing time and it also looks well. क्योंकि अगर किसी को ऐसे एजेड पर्सन चेक कर रहा है तो उसको नंबर आया होगा चश्मा, इमेजिन फ्रॉम द एग्जामिनर्स पर्सपेक्टिव ना। आप जब किसी की कॉपी चेक करोगे ना तो आपको समझ आ जाएगा कि ये सारी चीजें क्यों रिलेवेंट है। कोई नहीं पढ़ता seriously, they will not read all your answers, they will read your few answers and then they will make marks based on that, and they will read in a guillotine प्रस्ताव पता है ना पॉलिटी में, जिलेटिन। so they will jump from here to here to here, ऐसे ही रीड करते हैं। so in that way make your answers in that way। जब भी कोई सब हेड लिख रहे हो, चेंज कर रहे हो, ऐसे बॉक्स बना दो। जब भी कोई इंपॉर्टेंट चीज लग रहे हो ये कर दो। और क्वेश्चन के अंदर कोई थिंकर कोड कर दिया ना तो बॉक्स बना के उसको बताना जरूर कि मेरे को आता है। वरना क्या फायदा इतने सारे थिंकर्स लिखने का, कुछ बता ही नहीं रहे उसको। तो प्रेजेंटेशन मैटर्स, कंटेंट किंग है, बिना कंटेंट अच्छे कंटेंट के मार्क्स नहीं आएंगे। लेकिन जैसे ही एक बार अच्छा कंटेंट आ जाए देन वर्क इन योर प्रेजेंटेशन, इट विल टेक यू फ्रॉम 130 to 160। प्रेजेंटेशन के बेस पे आप जा सकते हो। रिवीजन बिफोर प्रीलिम्स, for anthropology I think I stopped 4 months before the pre, I started after prelims. And also those of you who are writing in mains in 2025, remember that do not leave the anthropology subject 1 month before the exam. Try to get it little till 10th of August। 22 अगस्त से आपका मेंस होगा, तो 10th of August तक 2-2 घंटा रोज रात को थोड़ा थोड़ा पढ़ते रहिएगा। उससे क्या रहेगा कि पूरा भूल नहीं जाओगे, वरना 5 दिन में ऐसा लग रहा है फिर से दोबारा ही पढ़ रहे हैं। तो वो चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए। हाउ टू ओपन डिमेंशंस इन 10 मार्कर्स। 10 मार्कर्स में अलग अलग डिमेंशंस, जैसे करंट रिलेवेंस ओपन कर दो, किसी का क्रिटिसिज्म ओपन कर दो, या फिर उसमें एक केस स्टडी कोट कर दो, एंड देन वो सारी चीज़ों पे आपको एक बॉक्स बनाना है कि मैंने 3 डायमेंशन 4 डायमेंशन ओपन करी है, तो एग्जामिनर शुड नोटिस कि इतनी डायमेंशन इसने ओपन करी है। दैट विल हेल्प यू। हाँ बोलो। हाँ, ऑप्शनल के लिए ये जो मैंने बताया है ना, कि बहुत ज़्यादा कोई बड़ी-बड़ी किताबें नहीं पढ़ी, जो चीज़ें बेयर मिनिमम थी उस पे स्टक किया और बार-बार रिवीजन करता गया उसका। और अभी जो मैंने अपने नोट्स में से थोड़ा-सा डिस्प्ले किया ना, कि हर चीज़ के लिए कंटेंट नहीं था, लेकिन हर चीज़ के लिए कंटेंट रिक्वायर्ड भी नहीं है। आप जो अपना कंटेंट है उसको यूज़ करो एक्स्ट्रा जगह पे। और जो ये थोड़ी-सी स्ट्रीट स्मार्टनेस है ना, ये लाइए ना, बॉक्स बनाइए, बड़ा फ़ॉन्ट लिखिए, वरना 150 वर्ड का पूरा आंसर लिखोगे आप, तो उसमें 150 वर्ड से 200 वर्ड लिखते हैं बहुत सारे लोग। तो 200 वर्ड का कंटेंट कहाँ से लाओगे? उतना सारा रिवीजन कौन करेगा? 150 वर्ड को 130 वर्ड में ही निपटाने की ट्राई करो ना। टाइम लिमिट टाइम भी तो बच जाएगा थोड़ा-सा। और जीएस में जैसे ये सेम चीज़ें अप्लाई होती है कि आपको एक चीज़ को मल्टीपल प्लेसेस पे यूज़ करना है। एंड ऑल्सो एक और चीज़ है कि आप जब टेस्ट लिखने जाओगे ना, तो ज़्यादा टेस्ट ना लिख पाओ ना, तो जस्ट टेक अ क्वेश्चन एंड ड्रॉ अ मेंटल फ्रेमवर्क एंड देन लर्न। उस मेंटल फ्रेमवर्क को बनाइए, देन सी कि आपका जो मॉडल आंसर है वो कितना डिफरेंट है उस मेंटल फ्रेमवर्क से। और फिर सोचिए कि क्या मैं इस डायमेंशन में सोच सकता था, मैंने सोचा क्यों नहीं। एक सिंपल एग्जांपल दे देता हूँ कि जीएस 3 इकोनॉमी का क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं एग्रीकल्चर पे। अ, तो नॉर्मली क्या कर देंगे कि एग्रीकल्चर ही एग्रीकल्चर लिखते जाएंगे, फिशरीज को भूल जाएंगे, डेयरी को भूल जाएंगे। तो ये कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है कि आपको सिखानी पड़ेगी, ये सोचने से आएगी ना। तो ये bare मिनिमम बनने के लिए आपको रोज पढ़ने के अलावा 1 घंटा सोचना है बैठ के, कि मैं कैसे ज्यादा से ज्यादा सेम चीजों को यूटिलाइज करके ज्यादा से ज्यादा स्कोर कर सकता हूँ एक ही जगह से। एक कंटेंट को लेके आंसर पढ़ रहे हो ना, कोई भी नया यूनिट सिखाया है, तो उस पर 5 मिनट सोच लीजिए कि मैं इसको कैसे अलग जगह पे यूज कर सकता हूँ। जैसे मैं ये यहाँ पे डिस्कशंस होते थे, तो पेपर 1 के डिस्कशंस होते थे, तो सर बीच बीच में बोल देते थे कि सिंबोलिज्म पे डिस्कशन हो रहा है, तो सर ने बोल दिया कि अपना अरविंद केजरीवाल जी है, पॉलिटिशियन है, हाउ ही इज ड्रेसिंग अप एज अ कॉमन मैन यूजिंग मफलर, और वो कॉमन मैन की अटायर है, जैसे फॉर्मल है, चप्पल है। तो दिस इज अ सिंबल। ऐसे सिंबॉलिकली पीपल मतलब गेट जॉइंड अप विद द मासेस। पॉलिटिक्स में सिंबोलिज्म का यूज हुआ। अब कोई भी क्वेश्चन आया पॉलिटिकल चीज पे जहां पे ज्यादा कंटेंट है, नहीं है, कम पड़ रहा है, तो सिंबोलिज्म को ले आओ ना। ऐसे मतलब उसको थोड़ा सा साइड में एक मार्जिन में लिख दीजिए कि ये चीज पेपर 2 में यूज हो सकती है। तो ऐसे चीजें आप करोगे ना, तो इससे ज्यादा बेनिफिट रहेगा रादर देन गोइंग फॉर कलेक्टिंग मटेरियल नोट्स। ये नोट्स पढ़ लो, वो नोट्स पढ़ लो, बहुत सारे नोट्स है, फिर आप नोट कलेक्टर बन जाओगे, डीएम तो। हाउ मेनी टेस्ट पोस्ट प्रीलिम्स। मैंने 60 टेस्ट लिखे थे। एक पेपर 2 का फुल लेंथ था, पेपर 1 का मैं फुल लेंथ लिख नहीं पाया था, बाकी 5 सेक्शनल थे। दो एक और मैंने पीवाई क्यू प्रैक्टिस करे थे बिफोर गोइंग इनटू द लास्ट मेंस। मतलब 9-10 टेस्ट हो गए थे एंथ्रो के। जीएस के फॉर ईच जीएस एक एक टेस्ट ही लिख पाया था, टाइम नहीं था। तो उसको मैंने एडजस्ट कर लिया था बाय यूजिंग दैट मेंटल फ्रेमवर्क वाला स्कीमा, कि बहुत सारे 2-3 टेस्ट ले आया, उसमें फ्रेमवर्क बना दिया और फिर मॉडल आंसर से मैच कर लिया। सिंस आई रिलाई ऑन योर नोट्स, ओके, द नोट्स विच आई हैड शेयर्ड ऑन माय टेलीग्राम चैनल, they are not suitable for everyone, so please use it with caution, because I had made those notes having content in my mind. Once I had gone through whole syllabus, I had my basic notes. After that I had added a value addition note second time. So in that what I did was, I used only few things which were not there in my basic notes and wrote down there. So those notes please use it with question, मतलब अपनी विवेक का इस्तेमाल कर लीजिएगा उसमें। हो सकता है बहुत सारा कंटेंट उसमें मिसिंग हो। एक क्वेश्चन पे मतलब जैसे फॉर्मलिस्ट और सब्सटैंटिविस्ट डिबेट पे मैंने कवर करा है, तो मैंने उसमें 2 ही लाइन लिखी है जो मेरे को नहीं आती थी। बाकी सारी तो बड़ी राम कहानी है उसकी, वो पता होनी चाहिए आपको। ओके, सो फॉर करंट अफेयर्स, whenever you found something useful in anthropology or for GS, save it and you can use it in anthropology. Or so suppose I have a register which is 300 page long. In the initial part I used to write notes, and in the ending part I used to add current affairs. So in that way I used to do. You can follow some other principle if it is there.